You have reached the voicemail box of...
The Beards and Sundries Market.
The voicemail box is currently
Empty.
To reach our loyal and devoted team members, please make sure to leave a message for a chance to hear your voice captured on the internet until the end of all time. Thank you,
Beardo.
and have the day you deserve.
And welcome back.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back to Season 3, Episode 16 of Beards and Sundries.
Yay, we're driving again.
Sweet 16. That's right, guys. It's time for another lunch break here at Beards and Sundries, the shop where three gay men with beards do inventory on a new sundry item in each episode.
My name is Jay, and I'm a little dead inside. Only a little.
And I'm Anthony, and if anyone so much as mentions Jesus at my funeral, I will paranormal activity them to death.
And I'm Joe, and if hell is real, I've got a corner office waiting for me with my name on it. And today's sundry item is death.
Ooh.
Now, Beardos, before you think this is going to be all gloom and doom, we are going to talk about an entire range of topics today. From what we think happens after death, our thoughts on funerals and remembrance, and we'll even chat about how we'd like ourselves to be laid to rest. Later on, we have another one of our Beardos horror or stories, and for game time today, we're hopping on a TikTok trend that we hope you all will enjoy. But before we get too far into it, how about this week's voicemail?
It was a little soft and quiet for me.
The inbox is as empty as I am on the inside.
Oh, Anthony, how sad of you.
Just like today's topic, the store phone is deader than a doornail.
Womp,
That makes today easy.
Just like you, Jay.
Thank you.
I guess since we don't have a voicemail, then we should just go ahead and kick right off.
Who died in the sundries aisle?
All of our Beardos' love for us must be dead in the sundries aisle because there's no voicemail this week. But if you guys are new
Boy,
to the
guilt
show,
trip
and if
101.
anyone's out there listening and you're wondering just what the hell a sundry is, the term comes from an old English word meaning odds and ends. Today, it's used mainly in retail as a way to group together items that don't typically have a group of their own. So, as three deathly gay men with beards, we are using the term to group together the wide range of topics that we cover.
The part of my brain that's supposed to remember to segue into sundries has died.
That's okay. Jay got you this week.
Look at me. I'm really going here.
Anthony was quieter than our voicemail box this week.
I forgot.
You're not the only one.
Anyways, I like that first topic you mentioned because I don't think we actually chit-chatted about that, but where do you guys think we go when we die?
Nowhere. It's
To
a
the
big
great
black
market in the
poof,
sky.
and then you're gone. Nothing happens.
Have you
I
seen
hate
the
to break
movie?
it to you. I believe in science on this one.
Have you seen the movie on Disney Plus called Soul?
No.
Yes, it's the Pixar one, right?
I think so. Disney owns Pixar now, right?
Yes.
They have for a while.
Okay, yeah. That's kind of, if there is anything beyond, that's how I view it, is just kind of this blob of running around and you just go to another life later and things like that. I don't know. I think it's interesting, but I'm still not even sure if I believe that.
It's fun to think about like reincarnation or heaven or the great beyond, but I don't know, man. I think it's just lights out and that's it.
I have this lingering expectation of things like reincarnation where I'm like, I there's just some wild stories out there surrounding it where, kids will claim to be someone from the past or claim to remember certain things that they couldn't possibly remember. And that it stumbles on to another person who had died years and years and years ago, but they're remembering things about that person's life very vividly.
Yeah.
So it's stuff like that where I'm like, I don't have a scientific explanation for it. There might be, and it seems like magic to us because we don't understand the science. But at the same time,
that's kind of it. I think there's still a lot to life we don't understand.
Yeah. I mean, we persist in such a way that our energy still exists in the universe because matter can't be created or destroyed.
That's it. And there's an electrical current in our heart, so it's got to go somewhere.
So I don't know. I don't know what happens. I err on the side of black poof, but if it's
don't get
not
me wrong.
black poof.
Don't get me wrong. The Good Place is a very good show, and that's very entertaining to watch. I don't know. I don't think anything happens.
Yeah. That's more likely than anything else, but at the same time, there's still a possibility that you go on in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. Somehow something happens, and I don't know. If somebody does know, please tell us.
Please call us at 405-999-2242.
Would love to open with the voicemail next week.
The secret of the universe in our voicemail box.
Keep it short, though.
Please do. There's a limit.
Yeah, my
Please
voicemail.
hold off on the religious theories. Thank you.
Oh, God.
Literally.
So, that is something that I do want to talk about is religion and how big of a role it plays in death in our society and how fucking annoying it is. I swear the foundation for most religion is just a whole bunch of people being scared to die.
It's just being scared.
I feel like they intentionally built fear in there, and I'm like, but why?
It truly is. Oh man, I went to that funeral the other day and I swear half of the service was just the preacher proselytizing. Just straight up trying to get you to convert to Christianity because I'm guessing he thought, there are people in this church finally who won't normally be in here. Now's my chance to get them.
He probably looked over, saw you, and went, there's a gay. This message is for you.
He probably saw me rolling my fucking eyes because I was. It was as they say on the oh gosh, I've had it podcast. I roll goddamn city.
Damn right.
And what I hate most about that type of funeral is how if you did not live religiously in that church or religiously in general, there is almost this negative talk about you in the sermon often about how your choices could lead you where we're unsure. And I'm like, why on earth is this how we are remembering people as a shame? Why would you choose a life like that?
And then what made it worse was the preacher was going on about how it didn't matter about who you loved or what you did. It only mattered that you believed in Jesus. Yeah. And that was it. That was the only way you were going to heaven. You could have been fucking Hitler in his mind and gone to heaven as long as you believed in Jesus.
Yeah.
Which, oh my God.
Someone's been very talkative this evening.
Someone has been wanting my attention really bad this whole recording. She didn't want it until I started recording.
She couldn't be jealous of somebody, could she?
She's a little bit. We are slowly getting closer. We are standing near the gate now when the little kitty cat is next to it and little Reginald is next to it. So we're getting better.
Aw, she's still so angry.
Reggie's turning into his own little personality today. We've had quite a shift, so I've been quite happy.
Good.
And Blanche doesn't like that.
Yeah.
She's like, no, fuck that little guy. He barked at me.
She said, Blanchie's got it.
She said, is this an episode about death? These eyes have seen death.
She's like, I want that dog dead.
Just like any cat.
No, Sweet Pea, because he's already cost me a lot of money.
But yeah, I hate hate going to Christian funerals because they're always like that. Every single one I go to, they're always preaching at you about how you need to believe in Jesus so you can go to heaven. And again, at this last one, just because it's so fresh in my mind, he kept talking about how death is defeated. Death is defeated. The thing that everyone's scared of is defeated. And I'm like, I mean, I don't want to die, but like, it's going to happen to everyone. It's always in my mind that like, I can just go at any point in time. I can have an aneurysm right now and just die on camera.
Yep.
But then death wouldn't be defeated, Anthony.
Well, it is. I heard it in church from a guy who probably has a degree in Hui.
Ugh.
Yeah,
Which that actually makes me wonder, do you guys have any like fear of death?
Sorta. Like, I don't really want to die, but like, I don't know, like, we want to shift over to talking about ways of dying and like the worst way, you think?
Yeah, before I soapbox hating on Christians a little too much.
That's why I steered it.
Yeah. Smart.
Well, I tend to have a fear of drowning because I've read that, like, for people that have come back from it, that like the whole time is just like sheer panic because you literally can't catch your breath, like you're struggling and fighting for air and trying to struggle to get for the surface, and drowning just sounds horrible to me.
I've died before.
Oh, inside.
Yeah.
Have you? You drowned?
No, I had esophagitis whenever I was a kid. And so my like esophagus swole shut and I couldn't breathe. And so I died for like, I don't remember how long, but they brought me back. I got better.
God.
You don't have any problems with that esophagus now.
Not with that ghost stick.
And not to put out the low hanging fruit, but I was supposed to like have some very severe cognitive disabilities. So there you go. Now you can make all the jokes you want.
Well,
About what?
we love you, Anthony.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're just an educated, lovely person with no issues at all.
Sure. Yep. I don't know. I don't have a fear of dying necessarily. I think it's the means of death, like Joe said. You know, it's like drowning.
I just don't want to.
Fucking awful.
You know?
I want it to be easy. You know.
That's kind of it. It's not the death itself that makes me fearful. It's one, the idea of something being long and drawn out and painful that I have to deal with. So like I suffer for a long time just surprised me. Or it's kind of why within the last few years I've been like, you really have to be a better person and realize that you got to be happy, because I started getting that fear that I was going to be on my deathbed looking back going, I did nothing that made me happy. And so I started going, you don't want to do that. So that's kind of, I'm really glad that, I mean, it was 2020 when I went through cancer, and I'm kind of glad that happened because it really just shifted how I view things so I won't have that regret.
Yeah, and I feel that too. I kind of keep that mortality in mind, and I think people think it's a morbid thought process to have. But at the same time, it really does help you prioritize if you do keep that at the forefront of the way that you think about things. Like, how much time do I want to spend on work? Whenever
That's it. I don't want to be on my deathbed going, I focused on this job that, what did that bring me? Like,
yeah, exactly.
I want to focus on what genuinely made me happy, who I was around that made me happy, what I did for myself that made me happy. I want those memories to flash in my head.
Exactly. And I feel the exact same way.
So everyone, just as a message, take care of yourself. Love yourself.
Because we
where have I heard that
love
before?
you.
Yeah, I don't know. If you
Certainly
don't
not
make
from
it to
our
the end of the show.
From a podcast or something.
Some gay podcast I think somebody follows with tens of listeners.
But I think drowning is one of those ones that, I wouldn't want to drown. Freezing to death might be kind of fun, but burning to death.
On the flip
not
side,
okay.
yes, Anthony, I've heard that when you freeze to death, you get a sudden final like burst of warmth in your body as like a final hoorah from your
Yep.
immune system. And I mean, like, if there's a way to go, that's got to be on the upper end because you
Yeah.
get like one final last hint of relief before you finally bite it.
And it also makes me think, like how long can you exist totally inside of your brain in a dream state as your body dies?
But if I'm kind of sleeping through it, it's awesome.
I've heard that after you're decapitated, your head is alive for a few minutes.
Ew, I don't want to think about that.
Yeah, that's a freaky one.
Yeah, I don't want.
I can go ask my distant relative what it was like.
They got the
Marie Antoinette.
Oh, god damn it!
Nah.
Got him.
Shut the fuck up! God, I hate you! I hate you! I hate you! I hate you!
It's because you're jealous I'm related to someone famous.
Not even a little.
I mean, she was a little bit crazy, but famous.
It's funny because my great grandma used to tell us we were related to Billy the Kid, and I'm just like, there's no way. That can't be real.
I think my grandma used to say that one of my relatives he got tired of being a stagecoach driver or something of that sort. And he went and bought some barber's old barbershop and he cut Wyatt Earp's hair. And that's something to brag about in our family, apparently.
I thought you were going to say he was Sweeney Todd.
You know what? That's a show I would love to see in New York whenever I'm there in December because it's got Josh Groban in it.
Fleet Street.
Oh, Mr. Tom, I'm so happy. I could eat you up. I really could. You know what I'd like to do, Mr. Tom?
Of all the ways to die, throat slitting not a bad way to go.
I don't.
Sweeney Todded?
I beg to differ. That sounds miserable.
Bleeding out seems like it takes a long time, and you get super cold at the end.
I mean, not if
I'm
your
already cold now.
throat gets slashed, but I guess it also depends on if they
And then
cut.
you're choking too on your blood.
That's the part that I think would be the most upsetting.
yeah,
Yeah, that sounds
because
miserable.
then you're drowning. You're
You
drowning
die
on
of
your own blood.
exsanguination before you'd ever die of like oxygen deprivation. So
Yeah.
it ranks a little higher than drowning, I think, for me.
Good.
I don't know. I want to keep all the blood inside. Thanks.
I mean, preferably. I'm not like asking that this is the way that I go. I'm just saying, a little higher than drowning for me. No, fellas? No? It's
I don't
panicky, but
know.
it's shorter.
It's drowning,
It's
but
shorter.
not in the water.
It's shorter.
This is way more morbid than I anticipated.
It's still funny.
It's honestly exactly what I expected.
You're right. Why did I expect anything different?
I don't know. I feel like ideal way to go, just absolutely pumped up on morphine in my deathbed or
Actually-
aneurysm in my sleep.
I got
Ooh, that sounds nice.
Oh,
Just
anything in the sleep sounds awesome.
Drift off to sleep. Yep.
Or, hear me out, driving down the highway in your little Ford Pinto, and all of a sudden this log falls off a truck, and you smash into it, and your car just explodes and you're dead.
Now, is this instant death, or are you burning to death? Because
Oh,
I've heard
God.
burning to death is like just instant pain, exposed nerve endings, terrible pain the entire time.
Yeah, because your nerves are literally on fire. I mean, I guess
Fried.
at some point they're completely burnt, and so you can't feel anything. But yeah, your whole nervous system gets exposed because your skin is gone.
I'm going with the offer that the car explodes and the whole explosion alone was enough of a knockout kill for me.
Didn't
Okay.
that log impale them in their face though?
So somebody else's
No,
car did
not
that,
the
which
Pinto.
would
That
be
was the
fine
police
also.
car.
Yeah, if it
Okay,
went right
yeah.
through and just smashed me
I mean,
right
it'd
then.
be scary
awesome.
for a second, but then you'd be dead. You just.
I wouldn't even have enough time to think about my life in there. So okay, that's two options I'm down for.
Jay, that's already happened to you with the sun visor. You don't even need a log.
Ew.
I've never seen someone hit their head on a sun visor so often,
It's alarming.
and someone's so surprised by it every time.
It every fucking time I bunk it and I'm just like, wow, why is that there? And then I'm like, oh yeah,
Because
for
you put it halfway down all the time.
5 seconds you were facing the sun, and so you just barely tilted it down for 5 seconds, but forgot to put it back.
It's funny because you can totally achieve the same effect by pushing it all the way forward.
You know what? Listen, it only took like 8 times to finally go, let's not make that mistake again.
8 times today.
Last week.
Mm-hmm.
On the drive home.
Actually, when I was
In the
backing in my
drive-thru.
garage, I was like, ow.
Waiting for your Target pickup order.
Jesus.
Pick up for Jay. Oh, ow!
Yeah. Well, I'm getting better.
So Jay's gonna go from blunt force trauma to the head. So okay, got it.
Oh, yeah. Killed by the sun visor. The first person in history, folks.
I win.
Aggravated by chat piles.
And sun visors.
They'll have to start putting little bumpers on sun visors, and they'll call them the J bumps.
Oh, and I feel honored that they thought of me.
Oh no, it'll be like when they put those bars in the back of tractor trailers because of that actress who died from like crashing her car into one, but
Yeah.
they're named after Jay and they're just called J bumpers, and
Yeah.
so now they're federally
J-bar.
mandated on every
That's
car.
what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
And fun fact, that actress was involved with the Church of Satan. And so there was all these conspiracy theories that the head of the Church of Satan like caused her to die. All of them completely unfounded, but like still.
Was he driving the truck or what?
No, it was supposed to be like satanic magic or, whatever.
It was Satan from South Park. Saddam.
And those religious people were like, that's what she gets.
I know. That's what I mean. That's why there were all the conspiracy theories surrounding it, because it's all Christians and they think that the Church of Satan is actually about Satan and not just straight up hedonism.
Ow. I feel like I need to get a visor up here just for the joke now.
Well, so after you die, and let's talk about other people's funerals for a second.
Yes. I'm ready
before
for this
we go on
conversation.
to our own hypothetical ones. I hate funerals. I hate them not because they're sad, because most of the time, unless I'm really close to the person, they're not sad for me. I hate them because everyone else is sad, and I have no idea how to act.
I'm better. It took me a lot of years to get better, but I'm still not great because I'm a person who uses humor a lot in life. So in those situations, I can't just be like, ha, 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 ha. But I still unintentionally say something kind of funny to like try and lighten the mood. And I'm like, I'll walk away and I'll be like, what a fucking inappropriate time. But it usually plays off well, or at least to me. And then when I leave, they're just like, what the fuck was that?
Go into it thinking like everyone's in one of the 5 stages of grief right now, and you just kind of have to try to read the situation and kind of go at it that way. And that's usually what I try to do is I try to read someone's body language or try to like overhear what they're saying before I walk up to them, or just so I can kind of gauge what I'm going to say, because humor is not always the right way to go. Sometimes it is, and sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
I get more cynical when I go to funerals that take place around people that I knew from my hometown growing up, because I'll see people at the funeral who I'm like, you didn't care about this person. Like, unless something has changed drastically over the years, you're just here to be seen crying?
When it's a social event.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
fuck off. Now, granted, this last funeral I went to was very well attended, and I think a lot of the people there had an actual reason to be there, but still.
I think the last service I went to, I was more of just the like hugger, because it's actually a very good friend of mine. And I was like, I know I don't need to say anything. So I just kind of leaned in and gave like my good hugs and all that jazz. Except the graveside services, oddly enough, turned into a humorous situation for everyone. I'm not going to go into detail, but it was actually really funny because they dug the wrong grave the first time and we were there. So we had to literally, after the service was over, they had to go over and dig the proper one.
No.
Whoa.
It was funny but bad, but my friend was just like, no, this actually goes perfect because my mom would have laughed at this. And I was just like, oh my God.
Oh my god.
I can't. The dug the wrong grave.
Completely dug in the
Wow.
wrong quarter of the cemetery because it's broken out
Imagine.
into sections.
Imagine being the caretaker. Oopsie doopsie poopsie. Dug the wrong gravy wavy.
Well, and then I'll say that on the flip side of funerals, sometimes there will be a memorial service. So it'll be after the fact, or even after a wake, or even on a different day. I've heard them called like a celebration of life, where it's kind of like a get together party, more of a situation where you celebrate the person and have fun memories of them. Anthony and I recently went to one about a couple of months ago for a friend who had passed from brain cancer, and his husband was putting it on, and families were there, dear friends were there, and it was kind of like just a nice get together to kind of remember him who'd passed, and his name was also Joe. And when I walked in and met his mother and introduced myself, I could just see her face kind of break because it was another, gay
Yeah.
male whose name was Joe,
Reminder,
and she saw her
yeah.
son. And she started to cry, so of course I pulled her in and I gave her a hug and I said it's okay, and I just let her have her time, and it's just showing respect and the best way you can at that point. And for me, the best way to show my respect at that point was just let her hug me as long as she needed to.
And Joe, that's one of those situations where it's like really difficult to deal with because that's where I kind of pull them in and I'm like, listen, they're sad. This is a situation that I can't solve with humor. And as long as I'm not lying about it, it's very much I let them know that they raised a beautiful person and they should be very happy that they did that so well or something of that sort. Like I will throw out the compliments because I'm like, you're already crying now. I'm going to tell you something really good it's going to make you cry, but it's going to feel like a blessing in a way. But that's all I can think of doing in those situations.
I mean, I feel like those situations are harder on me emotionally, but they're also easier for me to navigate socially because I don't have to chit chat or small talk.
I don't have to do any of that
conversation. Yep. And it feels a lot more real and raw, and that is easier for me. But it's also, I don't know. I felt like that get together was really tough because it made me reflect on how we spend our time with people and how I feel like I didn't spend
And
enough
how we
time
don't.
with them. Yeah.
Yeah, I have tried within the past couple years to focus more on staying in touch with people I consider close friends, which is how we got a podcast.
That's true.
Which, after how many years of not talking, did this come to fruition?
That's also true.
I mean, we hardly kept in touch. We came back. We were suddenly. It's almost like things never even went that long without talking.
I'd almost say it's better than it was beforehand.
100%.
Also, what are these bubbles that are
I
happening?
don't know.
What?
Why did you give yourself a thumbs down?
I didn't touch anything. That's the weird.
Did Blanche
part.
do that?
was that?
I don't know. I'm literally sitting here clasping my hands, and guys, the ghost of death does not like me because I just got a thumbs down.
Damn.
Yo, boo, boo. You're going to
Bridge
get Final
ghost.
Destination.
Your bush is too rowdy. Ooh.
God.
Oh my god. Sorry, just tangent really quick. So I started this new position at work. I don't think I've updated anyone. I did get the new position. I accepted it. And as of Monday the 16th, I started the new position. And so I'm on this new team of people I hardly know. And someone was trying to add me to the Teams group. And she said, I have been looking for the name Roy for the past 2 weeks since I knew you were coming to this team. And I didn't realize it was Jay.
Oh my God.
Did you think your name was Roy J.E. Bush?
So now I was like Roy Jowdy Bush.
No,
So-
I really want to reflect on Roy Rowdy Bush, who is a straight man who absolutely works in oil and gas as well, but he is not in an office.
Yeah. So I now just joke around and I'm like, no, I'm Roy. It's day 2 of this new position and I already have a nickname.
Is this Anthony? Is this his straight persona?
Yeah, Roy Rowdy Bush is totally straight. He works in the field,
Oh.
hands dirty, like
I get what you're
100%.
saying.
Yeah.
One, because I've got one for Anthony. It's if he went by his first name William, because he'd be Bill Criswell, and he would totally own a local Ford dealership, and he would go, "Bill Criswell, how the hell are you?" and give you a big handshake.
Could it be a used Ford dealership, not even new?
It'd be both
No.
new and pre-owned.
Okay,
No,
fine.
I'm fancy.
Okay, let's not push it.
Okay, that's not push it.
Calm
His
down,
local
Bill.
Background.
No, his local commercials would be insufferable.
Oh,
Oh, yeah,
God,
they'd be
his
awesome.
local commercials would be so much CGI and just him yelling, wearing stupid shirts and doing stupid.
It would be
acting.
me with like explosions and American flags and eagles and shit.
And then at the end,
Yeah,
he's like,
like
"Cut it!"
Straight me would be the worst person on this fucking earth.
Oh, I would hate straight me.
Oh, I could do you one better. I can do you one better right there. My first name was originally supposed to be Ace. And if you guys don't already know, my former name is Martin. So my name would have been Ace Martin. Can you imagine how fucking terrible I would have been? I would have had
Mom.
like an Ace of Spades tattoo, and like I'd have like an
Stars on your
F-350.
nips.
Probably like 4 kids. I'd still be
Mom.
living in West Virginia. Oh, God.
Hooked on
I want-
Oxycontin.
I want you to know, Mom, you did very well not naming him Ace.
My sister had a hand in that because she said to them that it sounded like a dog name, so they chose Joseph
God.
instead.
I wish they would have made you Reginald then. No, I'm kidding.
I disagree.
So what do you guys want your funerals to be like? I want to hear
Ah,
your real funeral, what you want your real funeral to be like, and then I want your most like bonkers off the wall, if you had your way about it and money was like not an object, what you would do to shock and appall all of your family.
okay. Real funeral? I do not. Cremate me, and you guys take my ashes wherever we feel like at the moment that you think I should be laid to rest, and get a fuck ton of alcohol, get drunk. I do not want this sappy big show. I do not want any of that stuff. I want people to, like, you're welcome to be sad over the situation. I don't know why, but you could be sad and get drunk, have fun. Now, do you want to comment on that, or would you like me to go on to my great show?
I do have one request. Now
Do
that we're
it.
talking about this, since you want to be cremated, I want the left testicle. I want the remaining testicle. Can
Like
I have it?
Like in a jar?
Not like no. I want it. I want the remains of it, but I want it to be cremated separately, so I can have specifically those remains.
So burn it, but separately.
right, so I can wear a little. So I can wear a little bit of J around my neck everywhere I
Anthony,
go.
I am actually working on my will right now, and you are almost convincing me to actually figure out a way to make this happen.
I want this. I want this real bad.
I will get
know
it put
that-
into jewelry.
Yes. Fuck yes. Hell yes.
Because I would love that for some reason.
It just feels so right. Right.
And I want people to be like, "What a gorgeous necklace. What is that?" And you'll be like, "My friend's nut."
It's my friend's testicle. Yeah.
And they'll be like, and you'll be like, "But really?"
It seriously is.
Go listen
Think
to
of all the comedy like situations that we would be put in that, like, you would be making people laugh from the grave, Jay.
go back to our podcast we had back in 2023, season 3, episode 16, and you will hear where this came about.
I am in love with this idea, and I really hope we follow through.
I'm game. I will.
Truthfully, I hope this does not happen for a very long time, or ideally, like, since I'm older than you, that I would probably die before you, but
I'll still give you a necklace when you're dead.
please, someone, Frank, hopefully bring it to my grave and like hang it over my tombstone.
We actually make your tombstone have like one of those, I don't know, torso sculptures that you hang fancy necklaces on, and it'll be on top of your tombstone, so that way we could put my testicle necklace on it.
And then, like, it'll have abs, and finally, in death, he had abs.
About time.
Okay, so what's your goofy one?
Okay, goofy one. Guys, literally just had this conversation the other day. My funeral will be a magic show. There will be an unlimited mimosa bar. and there will probably be men burlesque flying in on things. So it's going to be kind of like this performance show. And then all of a sudden, like this magician's like sawing my coffin in half, and he's like, look, and then all of a sudden like, he puts it back together and they open it again and I'm still there, just dead. he's just pulling this long string of rags out of me, and he's like, let's check his pocket, and doves fly out of it, like shit like that. I want it to be a ridiculous show that just people are just morbid but enjoying it because there's unlimited mimosas, so we're all drunk.
Jesus Christ. I'm seeing spots. I'm laughing so hard. Oh my god.
Like, oh god, it sounds like a circus in there because there's like all this music playing along, and it's just it's chaotic because that was my life and my brain.
And
Jesus.
I was that magician.
And Anthony gets to be the magician. Except he's like, oh shit, I really did saw him in half.
Whoops. There's like embalming fluid coming out of the thing.
Oopsie poopsie. My favorite part is us cackling so hard and Joe's just sitting there straight faced.
Mm-hmm. The straightest face I'll ever make.
Okay, Ace. Oh my god, and then Joe gets to do card tricks on the side as Ace the magician.
It's Joe, but he's like the magician's assistant, and he's just serious as a fucking the entire time.
Yeah.
Absolutely 100% not okay.
And he's like, and he's like playing a stunt, and he's like holding up a deck at me, and he's like, pick a card. Well, I guess I'll pick one for you because you're not doing it, and shit like that. And then I'll like pull things out of my pant pocket and be like, is this your card?
Oh my god.
All right. Now you know my funeral.
Perfect. I love both of these.
Good. Glad I can make it better.
Okay, so I'm going to take part of my inspiration from P.S. I Love You, the movie, because I am also part Irish, and I want it to be a get-together where it's minimal sadness, but much just happy remembrance and celebration, and I would like to be cremated, and I would like to have my body ashes placed into a nice decorative chest where everyone will take turns, and they will take a shot glass, and they will bring up a shot, and they will say their favorite memory. They'll take the shot, and they will place the glass upside down on top of the chest. And then, after everything's done, a couple of days or a couple of weeks later, I want my body turned into a tree pod. And what that means is that my ashes will be placed into a cremation pod, and they are the form of biodegradable urns which are buried underneath a tree. And that means the idea is that my body will nurture the tree and further the growth, and that my body and soul will intertwine with the tree and in some respects become one. And that's how I'd like to go and be remembered. Not so much buried in a cemetery to rot somewhere. I would like to grow with a tree forever.
And whenever I get to your service, I will grab my shot of probably Kool-Aid because hard liquor is getting grosser as I get older. And I will be like, to the time that we laughed hysterically and he stared straight deadpan into the camera.
And the Beardos will be like, which time?
Was it during the Dicks episode?
Dicks! Dicks! And may he rest in dicks!
You open the chest, and my ashes are just like...
have formed a little face, like in the mummy.
Your urn is actually a sculpture of your face just going...
As I would have wanted.
Okay, but now for the real challenge, Joe, since you've been so serious this whole time, What's your bonkers funeral? What's your crazy idea?
I would like for my body in my now open casket, no cremation, to be placed inside the best room in Trump Tower, along with a piece of paper that says, I identify as alive. And that way, they can't kick me out under squatters rules, and I'll be in Trump Tower forever for free without having to pay for it.
Which Trump Tower you're picking? Because if it's the New York one, it may not be his much longer.
I was going to say, he's getting kicked out of the state.
Well, I looked for one in California, but it just said, like, I don't know, Trump Tower Estates. That doesn't sound very fancy.
Oh, I think there's one in Chicago.
Chicago it is. The
There you
Windy
go.
City.
And
For the rest
deep
of
dish
my
pizza.
days.
There you go.
That's right. And Deep Dish Dead Joe.
Oh, also Shake Shack is up there. I'll bring you Shake Shack. I'll be like,
right.
I know you want the double.
And then shake it. Shake it, shake it, shake it.
So, yes, that's me.
Anthony? Is it your turn?
It is. So my serious funeral is still a little, I mean, I think it would be great. I don't know how practical it is, but I would also be cremated in a way as I would like a Viking funeral, put my body on a pile of tinder, send it out on a boat and shoot a flaming arrow into it and let me be incinerated over the sea.
And I respect that 100%.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's fine with
And,
me.
Please do not have a religious officiant. Please get a physicist of some sort.
Ooh.
I
yes,
wanted like Dolly
definitely.
Parton or something like that, because God knows she won't be dead. So
I think like the most inspirational sort of, I not really eulogy, but analogy of death that I ever heard came from Neil deGrasse Tyson talking about the way that we are made in stars, and basically as we die and our body rots and we return to the earth, and the way the earth will eventually return to the universe, we kind of go back to the universe. And it was really inspirational, way less succinct than that, way more sciencey than that. So yeah,
I
that's
love
the
listening to
person
him though. I don't know what it
I
is
know.
about the way he speaks. I just appreciate him.
He's smart.
He's
He knows
just
what he's talking about, and he's
like-
confident in what he's talking about.
he's nowhere near similar to this, but in my mind, he's kind of as iconic as Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Yeah.
I
If you
think
can get Neil deGrasse Tyson. But if any physicist will do. Doctoral, please. Don't you give me a master's. Anyways.
I forgot to say the officiant at mine needs to be anyone Gen Z, because I have so much respect for them right now trying to change the world.
That's
So
true.
just pick
That's
Gen
true.
Z.
So my crazy funeral, I want it to be absolutely normal whole time. Everything's regular. I want it to be like a very normal funeral. It'll be, the only thing weird about it will be anybody who knows me and they're like, why is this like a normal funeral? Why is there like, a preacher here? Where are they talking about like Bible verses? What the fuck's happening? But it's all a subversion for my family and the people from my hometown who will decide to go there, if they decide to go there. Because when they get to the moment where they open the coffin up, the coffin will be empty. And then the room will go black. And then all of a sudden, fucking EDM music will start. Laser lights. My body falls from the ceiling like a marionette. They dance me around.
And there's a bunch of blacklight painted dancers standing everywhere going,
Yes, exactly. Like the secret dancers will like break out of their regular funeral clothes and then they're like dancing and raving, and all of these people in my family or from my hometown are clutching their pearls, and that's exactly the way I want to go.
Oh, my goodness.
I can't wait to be there.
You'll have so much fun.
Because
And then before the lights go, I'll be like, cut it!
Anthony would have wanted this. Cut it!
I would want exactly that. I want that to be the cue for the lights to go out.
And then it all happens again at graveside.
Oh my god. They're like lowering me in, and then instead my body ejects out of the grave. And it turns out there's a crane like way off in the distance, and I'm being hung above it like a marionette.
God.
Oh, I told you we could make this
Oh
a
my
positive
God.
episode, you guys.
Well, Beardos, we told you this was not going to be all doom and gloom. And were we right or were we right?
I'm really glad this transitioned from how kind of like sad it was earlier, but yeah, well, it's always the thought about our funerals that make things better.
That's true. Do you guys think it's time for a commercial?
Now that we've got Anthony and Jay all riled up, I think it's time for a commercial indeed.
And now, for a word from our sponsors, the Beards and Sundries Wacky Tacky Funeral Home.
Don't be boring. Come on down to the Beards and Sundries Wacky Tacky Funeral Home. Hi, I'm Cal Carrington of the Beards and Sundries Wacky Tacky Funeral Home, and boy, have we got something for you. From trapeze pallbearers to fire-breathing eulogies, we offer it all. Want your loved ones to have a fine send-off? Well, purchase the confetti cannon and synchronized mourners package. You'll be wowed all the way to graveside, which won't be far because we're the only funeral home with the death drop roller coaster. That's right, we load the casket onto the car and launch it for its final flight right into its dirty grave. We do everything from a jack-in-the-box jump scares to a puppet marionette show of your deceased loved ones. All inclusive is the mimosa bar, and afternoon funerals get the beer kegs. So come on down to the Beards and Sundries Wacky Tacky Funeral Home where we'll pass the grieving on to you! Must be 18 or older to grieve. No refunds if appalled by displays of deceased relatives. No drink limits on inclusive alcohol, but all cars left after 8 p.m. will be property of the Beards and Sundries Wacky Tacky Funeral Home. Cars can be purchased back at the Beards and Sundries lot at the Chad Relay dealership across the street. We don't accept diners book cards.
Hey guys, make sure you follow and subscribe to our podcast so you can receive a notification every Sunday when a new episode drops.
Well, I got to tell you guys, I hired the Beards and Sundries Wacky Tacky Funeral Home to conduct my funeral, and they have the cranes ready, they have the EDM ready, they've got the black lights ready, they had it all on hand already. It's like a one-stop shop.
My
It's
funeral
nice.
was so fabulous that it brought me back to life.
Did you know that you could actually pick the dancers there before you die?
I hear they brought Joe back to life just to make sure he keeps stocking the market, though.
Joe's kind of
That's
zombified
right.
and he's like, wine, more wine.
Nobody gets out of the Beards and Sundries market.
The Beards
Not
and
even
Sundries
in
Market
death.
hires re-alived people.
Oh, God.
Wow, what a great service, though. I would hire them anytime. If you want to get a hold of them, you can call us and ask for them at 405-999-2242.
Packages start at just $10.
Oh, what a great phone number.
Plan your funeral.
God. Anyways, Jay, do we have any Beardo submitted sundries?
We do. It's a little bit quieter week of just submitted content, but Mike, who asked us about our relationship and open relationships last week, messaged us back
Yes.
after listening to the episode and said, "Tell Anthony and Joe thank you for their candor about the relationship. I'm kind of with you. I'm not sure an open relationship would be for me, but if it works for others, that's really awesome." Also, Joe got it right. I was asking about their meet cute, in quotes, like in a rom-com. And when he said that,
Yes.
I was like, oh my God, that makes sense. Why did I not figure that out right then?
I still don't. I didn't know what that was until yesterday because we recorded an episode of Life's But a Song with
Oh, cute.
John Riley, our friend.
Yeah.
And he explained it to me, and I was like, oh, now I get it.
When he put it in quotes, that is finally when my brain clicked. And I was like, oh, because Joe tried to explain it last week, and my brain was like, I don't get it.
I think the issue is I don't watch enough rom-coms, and the term has never come up for me before.
Yeah, not a lot of meet cutes in horror films, Beardos.
Also,
little bit.
I probably
know.
have just
It
never heard
follows.
it correct. So I assume that my brain's just like, I didn't hear them right. Anyways, Mike continued to say, also, I really enjoy listening to you all, so keep the episodes coming. And from one band nerd to another, I'd love to hear more of y'all's band stories. Yay!
Ooh, can do. Thanks, Mike.
We
Mike,
can have a whole band episode that I won't have to be on.
Mike, tell us what you played so Joe and I can decide how we should start our band.
That's a great idea.
And that's all I had in user content.
Well then, Jay, I hear we have a horror story.
We do have a horror story. And it's from Anonymous.
Deep in the bowels of Aisle 4, when the only light is the crimson glow of the emergency exit sign, gather round the boater box and prepare yourself for Beards and Sundries horror stories.
He called it Wood in the Woods.
Ooh, is this from me?
You wooded slut. I went through a very heavy cruising phase in my early 20s. Who didn't? Many times I almost got caught or arrested. Okay, that's exciting.
Whoa.
However, nothing compares to the Woods incident. I was living in a pretty metropolitan area, but there happened to be a number of large wooded parks nearby. I'd never cruised any of the park trails, but according to Squirt, not sponsored, I found one particular... What? You never heard of Squirt?
Just no, Squirt. I've never heard of Squirt.
Oh, yeah,
I've heard of the soda Squirt.
No, Squirt.com. It's a cruising site for hookups.
Going to an unrelated webpage.
I only knew of it because for some reason they had these videos that they used to make years ago to entice you to be interested in it, and for some reason they were so hot to me. I think they were called cocktails, if I recall right.
Yeah. Anyways, go ahead.
Anyways, I found one particular one that seemed pretty promising and wasn't all too far from where I was living at the time. So, I drove over one early evening in September, parked and strolled the path that was supposedly very active. And boy, was it active. Through the dim light of dusk, I could see silhouettes of men in various positions. Though, the buzz of late-season cicadas drowned out any moaning or sounds of pleasure. I found... My ear just started ringing at the thought of that. Those fuckers are so loud.
Mm-hmm.
I found myself enjoying just watching some of the action taking place along the path, but soon there was a gruff-looking trucker type leaning against a tree and motioning me over as he stroked his gear shift. And I just need to put this into perspective. This guy's motioning at him, and all you can hear is... Jesus. It wasn't long before I was on my knees and fully involved. As a foolish, early 20-something, I pulled my own pants down around my ankles to expose my bare bottom and throbbing knob. We moved to many positions, which had me at points kneeling in deep vegetation and sitting on fallen logs. The trucker and myself finished about the same time. It was great. He patted my face and walked off. As it had gotten much darker, I know, how polite, I decided it was time to go home. Sup, bud? Back at my apartment, 20 minutes or so later, I started itching a lot. My hands, my legs, and worst of all, my peen and my ass. I broke out in tons of itchy red bumps and blotches. This sounds miserable. Having grown up in the country, I knew that this was definitely a reaction to poison ivy. I got into the shower to try and wash myself as good as possible, but much of the effect was already happening. I threw on some clothes and went to the nearest pharmacy and bought bottles of calamine lotion and oatmeal bath. For the next week, I was covered in calamine lotion and forcing myself not to constantly itch my peen or ass, which had gotten the brunt of the poison ivy. I wish I could say that was the last time I went cruising in the woods. But your boy was a horny 20-something-year-old, and once the rash cleared up, I was right back out there. However, I did go when there was significantly more light and in places with no poison ivy in sight. You live and learn.
I mean, as soon as he was talking about like the positions and stuff, I was like, he's getting poison ivy for sure.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yep.
I can't imagine what it's like down in those areas. I only got it once as a kid, I think on my arms
Resisting
and face.
the urge. For any of our female listeners or female beardos, scratching your balls is absolutely euphoric.
Oh, it's
and I
fucking
can't
heavenly.
imagine.
It's goddamn.
I can't
wonderful.
imagine not being able to do it for a week.
I sometimes I do it when I don't itch because it's great. It's not sexual. It's just fantastic.
Yeah.
I just think of Al from Married with Children.
Home
Married with
Improvement.
Children.
Oh,
Yeah. My brain was thinking of the song and I was like, love and marriage. And I'm like, that's not the name of the show though.
really coming
Al
out
Bundy.
sideways.
There we go. Look at my brain. It's working today and I've been up since
I'd rather
4:45.
not.
Well, Beardo Anonymous.
That was
Anonymous.
truly a scary one.
I mean, I've been young and horny
God.
and made bad decisions, so I get it.
Miserable thinking about it.
Well, Jay, do you have any other Beardo submitted sundries?
I am officially out of submitted sundries this week.
Well, then, Joe, I hear you have something to check out for us this week.
Check us out, Joe.
I sure do. This week, for Spooky Month, I have a TikTok channel that I follow. I've followed her for a couple years now, and her name is Geodesaurus, which is Geodesaurus. And she does a hydrology-related TikTok channel. She's a scientist, but for October, she does Spooky Lake Month. So for all 31 days, she'll do a somewhat haunted body of water, be it a lake, a sea,
My
a
bathtub.
river, anything like that. For this year's first episode on October 1st, she did Lake Tahoe, which was very interesting. She does a lot of fun facts about the physical aspects of the lake itself, some of the kind of more eerie things about the body of water, some of the more scary things about the body of water, and I learned something new every time I watch one of her videos. So she's very interesting, and I definitely recommend checking her out.
Oh, well, that's fun. Thank you, Joe.
I do love her channel when she does Spooky Lake Month. I mean, or I guess, is it Spooky Lake Month or is it just Spooky Body of Water Month?
She calls it Spooky Lake Month. So what she does is she starts the video with her face cut off from the nose up, and she goes, yes, hello, it's time for another episode. And so it'll draw your attention, and then she's just got a really soothing voice, and she's very educational, so they're very entertaining to watch.
Well, then, do you guys think it is game time?
I do.
It's giggity game time.
So this week we are doing a game that is a TikTok trend. There are no real winners here, except for you guys, the Beardos, will be the winners.
Yeah, I think once you hear what this is, you'll feel like a winner for sure.
Is this not the game where we're eating Tide Pods? Because I think the winner's the one that doesn't die.
It is
It
the
is,
game
Jay,
where you're
and then-
eating Tide Pods.
Yeah,
You go first.
You go first.
Oh, good.
And we try to beat your record.
That was 8.
You can do 9. Come on, I believe.
So there's a trend going around TikTok. You've probably seen some videos about it where it is people sit around and they do a list of things they think would put someone into a coma. So we have taken that this week and we are doing 10 things each for ourselves that we think would put Mitch McConnell into a coma. And we can't laugh. So we are going to call this TikTok Trends Mitch McConnell Coma Edition. So I think we should just go in intro order. So we'll go Jay, Anthony, and then myself. We'll just go in a circle, and we'll each do our 10 things that we think would put good old Mitch into a coma.
Okay,
This
we
should
have
be
to do our
fun.
best not to laugh.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Yes.
Ready.
New Coke, the 1985 version.
A mild bout of giardia, a disease you get from drinking stream water.
A single sip of LaCroix sparkling water.
I literally almost used a LaCroix one, so I'm really glad
I
somebody
thought about
did.
it too, actually.
Getting an actual Yahtzee during Yahtzee.
Using a Coinstar machine.
A bop it.
Twist it. Bop it.
And then the scream it makes when he loses, and it goes, wow! I think that would do it.
Wow.
That would send him right there.
Self-checkout.
I put that on my list, and it didn't make it into my rewrite.
Well, it's a sign.
You're welcome. Pulling apart 2 Lego bricks.
That's nearly sent me into a coma before. Voguing.
Could you imagine those arms?
No.
He'd actually
I mean,
probably...
I guess I could, because I've seen
He'd need a
Pan's
death
Labyrinth.
crane.
He'd probably freeze in the middle of voguing, and it'd just be... Sir, are you voguing? Are you voguing?
Senator, did you hear the voguing?
You'll have to speak louder.
Entering a Dollar Tree.
Nickelodeon Gak.
Oh my god.
Switching pay stubs with me.
Ooh.
Ooh.
That's probably what happened on camera these past few
Sure.
times. Trying to go to a political fundraiser, but taking the wrong turn in the event center and entering a furry gathering.
That was a good one.
That would do it.
Making direct eye contact with a person of color.
That might have been what happened on that stage.
He's literally one of the news people. He was like, "Rrr."
Yep.
Aladdin the musical.
He saw groveling.
Thank you, Aaron Choi.
There's too much groveling up there. The third Cool Ranch Dorito chip.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Finding out Jesus isn't white.
He's on a very long list of people. Freeze-dried Skittles.
They're so good.
I've never had them, I don't think.
They're tasty.
Mm,
They're exploded Skittles.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
A single episode of Wife Swap.
Really glad you led with that. Finding out his wife isn't white.
Good God, could you imagine?
She's not. She's Asian.
Ah.
Yeah, naughty boy. Fergie's national anthem.
That's a good one.
I mean, that put a lot of people into coma, though. Trying to read the movie title, To Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, just to condemn the nature of what it's actually about.
Snapping into a Slim Jim.
Yep.
Yep.
Lunchables.
Wow, I put the pizza together myself.
That's right, Mitchy boy.
Mountain oysters. when somebody tells him what they are after he devours an entire plateful.
That's why you froze on stage.
Mm-hmm.
They're what?
Yep.
Can you speak up?
Non-missionary.
You want reverse cowgirl?
Seeing his reflection after someone else applies a charcoal face mask to him.
Okay, I made it. I got through. Okay, I'm ready. My last one. Looking up. Because he...
No, I know.
Yeah, okay.
Because you're right.
Yeah.
Damn.
Okay, my last one. Missionary.
God, I fucking hate you.
And for my last one, the end of the moving sidewalk at the airport.
Not the way it would literally put him into a coma.
Yes.
I'm just imagining him just like fucking face planting at the end of the moving sidewalk.
When there's so many warnings. Caution, moving walk is nearing its end.
Oh,
He just
my
stands
God.
there.
The worst part about it was I could picture him in every single one of these 30 scenarios.
I know.
Jay, you've really got to get yourself some freeze-dried Skittles.
Skrittles?
Jay, you've really got to get yourself some freeze-dried Skittles because they are really good.
That sounds amazing.
One of the
They're
ones I
crunchy.
considered putting on here was attending a Trans-Siberian Orchestra concert. Because all I can think of is just the fucking fireworks that
Yeah,
go off. And I'm
we've
like, oh, he would immediately disintegrate.
We've talked about
I
this before,
considered
haven't
waiting
we?
for the...
What?
Trans-Siberian
TSO and
Orchestra?
their fireworks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
was
considered putting on there waiting for the finance manager while buying a car.
Oh, God. I also thought about eating an entire seasoning pack from Top Ramen.
That'd put anybody into a coma.
I know. That's why I left it off.
So my LaCroix one was recognizing that they said it was banana flavored after drinking LaCroix or something like that. I don't remember how I phrased it.
I thought about... I almost put my grand finale when he's in the drive-thru at Chick-fil-A and they don't say my pleasure.
Oh,
Oh my God.
that one would have been a tough one to not laugh at because that is really fucking funny.
He goes through the drive-thru and they're like, "You're welcome," and he's like,
So I originally had made my direct eye contact one. I was like making direct eye contact with Cardi B.
"Oh, I should have used when he accidentally put shuffle on and wet ass pussy plays." Bring a bucket, macaroni in a pot. What garage am I parking this in?
Oh my God. Anyways, Beardos, the sound of the funeral march has come to our speakers.
Oh,
And
thank
that means
God.
the music is coming back on,
What a mess of an episode.
and it's time for us to go.
Boo.
But don't forget to give us a call at 405-999-2242 and request your Beards and Sundries Wacky Tacky funeral.
We got the cranes for it.
And Beardos, just like death and taxes, the end of our lunch break is also certain. If you would like to help us out, go and subscribe to our podcast so you can get reminders every Sunday when we release a new episode. We also post frequent updates on all of our social media sites for any additional sundries that we add to the market.
And don't forget to rate us 5 stars and leave a review. We'd love to hear from you, and those reviews are what get us found by more ghouls, people, like you. We'd be honored if you could help us by doing that one simple task. Also, just each one of you telling a friend about the podcast would double our growth.
And we know that you're dying to talk to us, so find us on all of our socials: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, Threads, and also go visit our website, beardsandsundries.com. You can also email us, which we'd love to hear from you and read it out and use your content at beardsandsundries@gmail.com.
So, Beardos, from me, Mitch McConnell, before my coma, make sure to
Love yourself.
Because we already love you.
And those mountain oysters.
Mitch McConnell.
Mitch McConnell. Bye.
Don't forget, I don't like gay people.
This is the spookiest ending we've ever had.
Bye,
Fuck you, Mitch McConnell.